Hey guys, Lukey here, coach of your Alvine City Beacons, and this is week 3 of DPDL Super Low Tier. My opponent is Thick Mick and the Houston Toxapexans, and you're about to watch me get bent over and given a great lesson in drafting and preparing. So looking at the team preview, I'm looking at it and my opponent thought it was a tough matchup for me. I'm not so sure it was so one-sided, but as we get to the match, you'll see why it's important to have a game plan and to have a win condition. And the 6 mons I brought, so Steelix getting trotted out, more of the specially defensive version with Iron Defense Body Press to try and have something against Drampa, but also being able to hit Delphox, get rocks up. Rapidash, a huge mistake. Not only did I not put Flash Fire on it, which I should have to help with Delphox, I made it a weird mixed set to bait Palpitoad and Lunatone. Neither of those things occurred in the match. Ludicolo, I won't reveal the set because I want to use some version of it in the future, but for once I brought a fairly bulky Ludicolo. Mawile, I brought Breaker Mawile. I thought it matches up really well against almost his whole team. Really only Leafeon and Morpeko, and even Morpeko probably doesn't want to switch in. Something that could punch holes through his top mons. Cramorant, which again another strange bring, as I brought a mixed Cramorant, just trying to have something that could hit as many members of his team as possible without really thinking about, what does Cramorant do well for me, and what could I impose on my opponent. And then finally, Duosian. So the only silver lining from this match, and we're about to get to it, is that I've now brought all 13 of my mons, including Braviary, who's now been traded away. So here at Team Preview, you can see just how solid and all around his team is. He's got that Fire, Water, Grass core. Drampa, I was expecting a more offensive set, especially with the way this team preview looked, although as it turns out he brought like a bulky Roost Drampa, which is my nightmare. And that Drampa Palpitoad Granbull core is really, really strong. So let's get to the match here against Thick Mick. So here on turn 1, Delphox lead, and dual type psychics are strong in low tier. I got wrecked by Mr. Rhyme already. I face Galarian Mime next week, and this week was Delphox, who is just an absolute beast. And you can see already it's pretty problematic. One, because I have to scout what set he has. If it's Calm Mind and it's Psyshock, I'm fucked. Pardon my French. Nothing on my team is really going to take Psyshock and Flamethrower well, other than maybe Duosian, but I got to get Duosian in. So anyway, on the first turn, I panicked, and I think, if he's Fire Blast, Steelix can go down in one hit because I think I brought Sheer Force rather than Sturdy. Terrible, terrible play. What I should have done on this play, we'll let it play out here. Rather than go into Rapidash, who just eats a Flamethrower horribly because it's not Flash Fire, so instead of turning this into some offensive momentum, had I brought, even a specially based Rapidash with Scorching Sands, this would have been an opportunity to start doing some work. But not only that, Steelix accomplishes absolutely nothing, and what I should have done was just attack with Earthquake. It would have done over half, would have been some big chip on Delphox, and it does matter because my panic here and my reluctance to just hit what was in front of me, I think there's hardly a scenario where I win this match just based on the way I prepped this team and the team that Mickey has brought, because he was just prepared for, I think, anything I was going to throw at him. But sometimes, when you overthink and you overplay and you pull your guy out too soon, bad things happen. Whereas getting an Earthquake off on Delphox, which I could have gotten at great expense to Steelix, who really didn't accomplish a whole lot else in the match, would have put Delphox in range for Sucker Punch and Knockoff on Mawile. And put Delphox in the range of a lot of things. Potentially, maybe not quite a Shadow Ball from Duosion, but something where it's not ripping apart my team. So I take the opportunity to heal, which, again, also a bad play. Because this is where he reveals Psyshock. So again, I don't really have anything that's going to cover both sides well. Teddy comes in, my Duosion, takes that well. He goes for the Calm Mind. I expected him to switch. What was I expecting him to switch into with? I was expecting to switch in with Drampa, with the Psychic, but terrible play. What I should have done here, again, we're 4 turns in and I've already done, I think, 3 things where I could have immediately had a better move. And I should have just Calm Minded, because that Flamethrower +1 Calm Mind, that is almost a 2-hit KO anyway, but it at least gets me in the ballpark of being able to recover and outlast him a bit here, because he's getting leftovers recovery, gets Calm Mind again. This time I recover because I have to. And here, actually, I just want to highlight what a great set this was that Mickius brought on Delphox. So Calm Mind, Psyshock, Flamethrower, skill swap. So yeah, he, here just scouts my ability, sees that it's Magic Guard. Well, that's great. Who doesn't want that? But it occurred to me that this was a genius bring, because one of my checks to Delphox could have been Claydol with Levitate. And Claydol's going to come in to try and hit it with a ground move, and Delphox would probably have just skill swapped it, been immune, and now all of a sudden it's a hard counter to Claydol. So not a thing that actually ended up mattering in the match, because, well, Claydol didn't come, but I have to give props to my opponent there. That was a sick bring. So here, it takes 7 turns, and I finally get more than 10% damage off on something. And I just decide, yeah, what I need to do from the beginning is get as much damage on Delphox as possible, because now I can come in with Mawile and force it out. But of course, even that's where the mind games come in. And at this point, because I'm in full panic mode, game plan is out the window. I'm now just trying to think, okay, hit what's in front of me. So in comes Gramble, intimidates. Ironhead wouldn't quite have killed, but it would have done a ton of damage. So instead of the Sucker Punch, again, my opponent played it smart. And I should have played it, because at this point, the smart play, I'm down him on. Rapidash is basically toast. And I don't know if Rapidash sees the light of day after this. Maybe one more switch. But my win condition is kind of gone. I needed to take some risky plays with Mawile and start punching holes in his team. And knowing that Sucker Punch, I guess I could have risked it. But at this point, I'm thinking, well, I'm not really thinking is the truth. Ironhead obviously would have been the play, because it hits, probably what he wants to switch into for something. The Palpitoad comes in, and it's just a great check for everything. I decide to double switch. He thinks I'm going to switch out of Steelix twice. I take this opportunity to try and set up. I don't know what I was thinking. Of course, critical hit does not matter. I'm probably going to get burned here, I think, which takes body press, just completely out of commission for anything. So, I'm thinking, what can I do? And then Ludicolo comes in, so Ludicolo gets burned right away, is going to get chipped down. This is where, and again, great bring. He brings Sap Sipper on Drampa, beautifully covers Palpitoad. You can see how well it works on this team. Everything else can switch into Palpitoad or from Palpitoad and help it out. I mean, Delphox and Leafeon especially. But if it was a physical grass type that I had, absolutely Granbull could come in. Just a great way to use a low tier mon with 2 immunities and make progress and make things happen. Here though, the big mistake, of course, is in prep where I bring Ludicolo to try and handle both Drampa and Delphox, and because I made it so passive, it's not able to handle either of them. Especially as it turns out when I start ice beaming this guy and he's bulky and is able to roost it off, I'm not able to break through. Whereas if I was an offensive Ludicolo, had have come in on Palpitoad and Drampa switches in on a Rain Dance, all of a sudden we're cooking with gas. Now Ludicolo, I don't certainly wouldn't have been able to KO this thing outright. But all of a sudden, we're maybe able to punch some holes through the team. And at the very least, Rain Dance would have allowed Mawile to come in pretty safely on Drampa. So you see here, I think I'm, defog, just insult to injury. Steelix, Steelix, I'm just like, let's sack it. Not a great debut for Steelix. Back comes in Ludicolo. You can see 27%. That's an uninvested non-stab ice beam. It's super effective, but not that effective. I think a full-out offensive set could have, but you can see why I brought him. At the same time, Assault Vest doesn't let you run Leech Seed, so that's a bit of a bummer. So you can see James chirping me there. He brings in. Once again, I'm able to get Mawile in. I think one of the only good things from this game was I was able to find the switches for Mawile well. But yeah, you can see the Intimidate like that. Yeah, now Mawile's chipped down pretty good, and Ironhead's not a clean KO. Again, just another great brain. And of course, now Toxic on Cramorant. At this point, the Surf, goes in. It doesn't even activate my ability because, it has to actually damage something. I'm just, and then of course, I'll do it again. There you go, I'll do it again. I mean, not that it matters, Ice Beam's not doing a goddamn thing. Cramorant comes in, it's a decent enough answer, but I don't have an ice move. And Toxic and and Brave Bird is just gonna take me out real quick with the Hyper Voice, wear me down. Ludicolo, this match could have been different. It needed to be much more offensive. This is where you see, unless you have another Pokemon that can, support it and punch holes, where the opportunity cost of running Ludicolo defensively really becomes apparent because, I had 2 separate opportunities in this game to potentially break with it. And here, I didn't even get this prediction right. I finally guessed, is Granbull coming? And in comes, Drampa stays. I get the Ironhead off. Drampa lives. And then Rapidash goes down to the rocks. So, really tough match. A lot of lessons to be learned. One, Mikius, terrific team building, really put me to shame, and just had, as much as he'll flatter me and say that he had a really good matchup on paper, the truth is that he built a really well-rounded team. All kinds of immunities and good resistances, and able to really just kind of counter whatever I was going to throw at him. And I think I made his job really easy because, one, I didn't just attack early on, which could have really softened his team up for what I actually wanted to do, which was slowly break him down, try and lure out Palpitoad and kill it. I don't know why I put so much prep into a 3-point mon, but there you go. There's the value of good drafting, and a good lesson. So, I mean, looking at the rankings here, you can see currently out of a playoff spot. So actually, addendum to my last video, turns out that Tiger brought an evasion boosting ability that was revealed in my video. So guys, it does pay to do YouTubes. sometimes. So I'm still in the hunt. I've technically lost all 3 games, but 2 blowouts. But you know what? With all the hacks last week, maybe I could have. Maybe I deserved it. But anyway, in any event, we're still on the outside looking in. But the 2 first place teams at the moment are both teams that I've played, so they're no longer on the schedule. And the only teams, the Harlem Harriyamas are going to be a team that I really have to watch out for. I think I play them much later. But Canava, great coach, and the Max Attack Stack Attackers. I don't know if I've played quite gold yet, but really looking forward to it. It's a really interesting team. And next week I'm against the Tyranting Tantrums. I still have, I believe his name is Ryan. Yeah. In the future. So a couple of matches that, I think at this point at 1 and 2, they're all must wins. I can only afford one more loss. So at this point, really have to pull my socks up, dig deep, and try and win one for the boys. So thanks for watching, guys. This is a longer recap video than usual, but I really wanted to break down, where I, again, 2 out of 3 weeks have gotten away from my game plan of what really, makes this team work in terms of why I drafted it. But I also wanted to show off thick mix strategy and just some of the great details in his game and what he brought, even though he only revealed 4 out of his 6 Pokemon, that makes him such a dangerous opponent and such a talented coach. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.